Today, we're diving into the world of one of India's most celebrated literary voices, Anita Desai. She's an absolute master of the internal world, a writer who doesn't just tell you what her characters are doing, but pulls you right into the landscape of their minds. So, let's get into what makes her work so incredibly powerful. So, just how important is she? Well, let's start with one number, 3. That is how many times Anita Desai has been shortlisted for the Booker Prize, which is one of the highest honors in all of literature. I mean, that alone tells you you're dealing with a real literary heavyweight. Okay, so beyond the awards, who is Anita Desai really? What is it about her writing that makes it so powerful and so enduring? We're going to break down the elements that make her such a formidable voice in modern fiction.
You know, to really get her writing, you first have to understand her life. Her entire perspective was shaped by an upbringing that put her, quite literally, in a world of two halves. Desai was born back in 1937 in Mussoorie, India, and she was born into two completely different worlds. Her mother was German, bringing this whole European cultural influence with her, and her father was a Bengali businessman deeply rooted in Indian traditions. Now back then, a marriage like that was pretty unusual, so her home was this constant intersection of cultures.
And you could really see this cultural blend in all the languages she spoke. I mean, just imagine this. You're growing up speaking German at home, but then you're speaking Hindi with your neighbors, and on top of that, you're also learning Bengali, Urdu, and English. This incredible linguistic mix gave her a totally unique, multifaceted perspective. And in the end, it was English that she chose as her literary language, the tool she'd use to explore all these complex identities.
All right. Let's shift from her life to her art. Desai isn't really known for these giant, sprawling epics or action-packed plots. No, her genius lies in her incredible ability to map the inner landscape of the human mind. So the key to unlocking her work is this idea: psychological realism. At her core, she is a character-driven novelist. She's way less concerned with what her characters do and far more interested in why they do it. What's going on in their heads? What are their motivations, their fears, their secret desires? That's her playground. And her very first novel, Cry the Peacock, puts this style right on display. We meet this young woman, Maya, who's dealing with some really deep-seated trauma and feels completely trapped in her marriage. The whole book is just this intense, gripping dive into her psyche as her mental state starts to fall apart. See, the real action isn't happening on the outside. It's all going on inside her head.
And this focus on the psychological lets her explore some incredibly powerful themes that you see again and again in her work. Things like feeling like an outsider, all those subtle, unspoken tensions within families, the clash between old traditions and modern life, and maybe most powerfully, the inner lives of women in a changing India.
Now, as you can imagine, this unique style has earned her a ton of critical acclaim. So let's take a quick look at some of the novels that really cemented her reputation and brought home those major literary awards.
Her success is just undeniable when you look at the accolades. She won the Sahitya Akademi Award, that's India's highest literary honor, for Fire on the Mountain. Her children's book, The Village by the Sea, won the really prestigious Guardian Prize. And of course, here are two of her 3 Booker shortlisted novels, In Custody and Fasting Feasting.
And speaking of In Custody, here's a little tidbit for you. This novel, which is all about a declining Urdu poet, has become a total staple in academic circles. It's one of those books that, if you're a literature student, you're very, very likely to come across in your university studies. That just shows you its depth and its lasting relevance. But the story's power didn't just stay on the page, it translated beautifully to the screen. In Custody was actually adapted into a film by the legendary Merchant Ivory Productions. Yeah, the same team behind classics like A Room with the View. This just goes to show how much her storytelling resonated with people, reaching way beyond just the literary world. So, what does this all add up to? Well, Desai's influence extends way beyond her own bookshelf. Her legacy isn't just that of a brilliant writer, but of a dedicated mentor and educator as well.
Her influence really is multifaceted. I mean, she's taught creative writing at MIT, she's a fellow of the Royal Society of Literature, but maybe the most remarkable thing, her own daughter, Kiran Desai, followed right in her footsteps, became a celebrated novelist, and won the Booker Prize herself. It's an absolutely incredible literary dynasty.
In the end, Anita Desai's work is really an invitation for all of us
to look a little closer, to listen to the silences, and to see the profound dramas that are unfolding inside the people all around us. Her fiction gives a voice to those quiet struggles that exist between worlds, and it leaves us with a question to think about. What important stories might be hiding in the quiet spaces of our own lives?